everyone. Today we'll be taking you through our Amp Fitness Kettlebell Fundamental Series, and Lindsay and I will be coaching you through the kettlebell press. To get started, what you're going to do is grab a kettlebell and you want to stand over the bell. Today we'll be teaching you the safe clean. We'll be covering the kettlebell clean in another episode, but today for the safe clean, what you're going to do is you're going to hinge back like you were doing a deadlift, grab the kettlebell with one hand and place your other hand over the top. And as you stand up with the bell, you're going to pull it right into your chest, into the rack position. So this is where you're going to start and finish each press. So you want to make sure that your forearm is resting right against your rib cage and your wrist is in a nice neutral position, not hyperextended back. So you don't want to let the kettlebell pull your wrist back. So you want to stay nice and neutral with your wrist and squeeze the handle of the kettlebell. It's good to pretend like the kettlebell is made of Play-Doh and you're trying to squeeze it through your fingers. That'll give you a little bit of extra tension on your forearm and give the kettlebell somewhere nice and soft to sit. You also want to make sure that in the rack position, your hand remains inside your armpit. You want to make sure that the kettlebell is not pulling you outside of your armpit. So this is where you're going to start to find you'll feel impingement, and it's not a good, healthy position for your shoulder. So keeping your hand right inside your armpit, we're going to start to press. The press is actually an exercise that starts from the ground up. So we like people to press with a good solid base. So for Lindsay's feet, I want to make sure that she has her feet positioned right underneath her shoulders. So if you come in a little bit. And then as she presses, what she's going to do is she's going to lock her feet into the floor. So rather than thinking about pressing the kettlebell away from her body, I want her to think about pressing herself underneath the kettlebell, rooting her feet right into the floor. Good. So you'll notice that that's a nice strict press. This is a little bit different than the push press exercise. So for the kettlebell press, we don't want you bending at the knees and trying to drive the kettlebell up. So that's a push press. So for the kettlebell press, we're going to lock everything in nice and tight. She's going to make a fist with her left hand and drive her body right under that kettlebell. And she's also not bending away from the bell as she presses, so she wants to control the kettlebell and her body as she presses. So if she's bending away from the bell, the kettlebell might be too heavy, or she hasn't built up enough core strength to press the bell safely. So you want to make sure that there's minimal moving around of your torso as you're pressing the bell. Also, once she's into the top of the press, we want to make sure that she's guiding the bell down with her arm and creating tension underneath her lat, almost pressing into the bell the whole time as it comes down. We tend to see a lot of people press up and then just let that bell flop right back down into the rack position. That can also be a disaster for your shoulder. So she's going to get a good press, build up some tension, drive herself under the bell, and bring it right back to the rack position under control by keeping the lat tight and pressing right into the bell. The last thing is one of the most important. Once you're finished with your presses, you want to clean the bell right back to the floor, not just drop it and let it fall down out of your shoulder. So we see a lot of people that just kind of throw the kettlebell down and let it pull their shoulder out of position. When you're done, you're going to safe clean it right back to the floor. So you're going to let it roll off your arm, hinge down, bring the bell right back to the ground. That's how we teach the kettlebell press at Amp Fitness. As you get in good reps with a weight that allows you to perform technique like that, you're going to get stronger and be able to pick up heavier bells, and it's going to help you nail your goals.